What up, y'all? We're back talking about another one. You know what they did? They dropped us another Avengers teaser. And this one has our guy Thor in it. So wait through the intro and we're going to talk about it. Let's go. Welcome back to Collard Greens and Nerdy Things, your favorite one stop shop for all the things nerdy. I am your host, King, and this is the greatest co host in the history of Asgard, JC3. And obviously, by both of us having our Mjolnirs today, you know what we're going to talk about. Avengers Doomsday teaser trailer dropped today, and this one is about Thor. So, Jay, tell us about what happens in it and kick us off.
Well, King, and our viewing audience, I'm going to start us off by reading Thor's prayer to Odin real quick. And I quote, Father, all my life I have answered every call for honor, for duty, for war. But now fate has given me something I never sought, a child, a life untouched by the storm. Lend me the strength of the fathers so that I may fight once more, defeat one more enemy, and return home to her, not as a warrior, to teach her not to battle, but stillness, the kind I never knew. Please, Father, heed my words. Very wise words, very heartfelt words spoken by a very worn out demigod. What I got from his prayer to Odin was, hey, man, I've been through a lot. I went out, I had my adventures, I had fun, but I also lost people. I lost my home world, and now I have a child. Never thought I would have one. And now instead of being the funny, the funny happy-go-lucky, do whatever he wants Thor, he's more mature and he's trying to be a father and he's trying to show her a better way than what he knew. And I just think that's beautiful. But I want to know what you think, Kay.
I thought, it's funny that you mentioned that because a lot of the teaser really wasn't a lot of action or movement. Kind of like the first one that we covered. It was very slower in pace. The tone was a little lower. It's kind of more somber. And I think you hit it right on the head. Thor, this version of Thor that we know, has been through a lot. He lost his brother, his father, his mother, the sister that he didn't know he had, tried to destroy him. All of Asgard was destroyed by Surtur. The boy has been through a lot. The one thing that came to him was love, and the name of the girl is love. So it was kind of a double entendre, right? He got to feel that feeling of love by having a child. No better feeling of love is better than through a child. But he also got to have another reason to keep going and keep fighting. And
Right.
she is that reason. When he defeated Gore and was left with his child, she was giving him a new purpose in life. And I think that's what we're seeing in this trailer. It's not a whole lot of action. It's really a moment where Thor is praying to the All Father to give him the strength to take on the next battle, which we know is going to be one hell of a battle. But I don't know that Thor knows that. And one of the biggest questions I had when I watched this was, what has Thor and Love been doing since the last time we saw them? How much older is she, and how much more advanced in her powers or strength is she, and what have they been up to over this gap in time?
That is an interesting thing to think about. Just because based off the trailer, we see Love, we see her in bed, right? And it seems like that she can't sleep. But when we see Thor come in to check on her, we see the connection that they have, briefly. But it also makes me wonder, like, is she sensing that something or someone's coming, for her? Possibly Doctor Doom. We do know that Doctor Doom was sneaking in on Lil Franklin Richards from the post credit scene of the Fantastic Four movie, and the most recent, the first teaser trailer for Avengers Doomsday, we see Cap with his child. So it kind of makes you wonder: is Doctor Doom coming after these kids? And if so, Why? And could it be because they are very powerful? Could be.
That is a running theme that I actually didn't even think about until you literally just mentioned it. You're right. When we saw Doom, he was talking to Franklin, or approaching Franklin at least. And then, of course, it was very obvious that Steve Rogers was holding a baby in that teaser. And now we see Thor coming to love as she's in the bed, maybe scared. Maybe she couldn't sleep. The thunder, they probably use that as a nice double entendre. There is a kind of focus on more of the kid element, and some of these kids that have been introduced, like Phyla, these kids are strong and extremely powerful. So that could be the linchpin is maybe Doom wants these kids for their power and their resources to gain more power and strength. Maybe that is the thing that gets us to Secret Wars instead of the Molecule Man or Owen Reese. Maybe it is a Franklin Richards or some of these other kids' powers harnessed to get us into Battle World. So a lot was left there. I did have another question in that trailer that I noticed was as he was doing the prayer and he was kneeling down in the woods, he was holding Stormbreaker. And so far in that trailer, there's no sign of meow meow. No meow meow is there at all. Mjolnir is who knows where. He has Stormbreaker, which I love Stormbreaker. Which, fun fact for the viewers, that was originally Beta Ray Bill's weapon was Stormbreaker. In the comics, it wasn't. It wasn't at all Thor's.
Interesting question on where Mjolnir is. I think the last time we saw Mjolnir, sorry, was when Captain America was sending the rest of the items like back throughout different points in time, and he picked up the hammer. I think that was the last time that we saw it.
Well, Jane Foster.
But yeah, Jane Foster. That's right. Love and Thunder. Love and Thunder. Sorry, there's some parts of that movie that you just tend to forget. But yeah, yeah, she actually rocked the hammer pretty well. So we could possibly see it, in this movie coming up. Also, one thing I want to point out, I think Thor had a new suit too. I think it was like a black and gold, type version. So I mean, I'm really interested to see that. Always happy to see our heroes, suited up and their new stuff. So intrigued to see, kind of what kind of battle we're gonna get, man. Just because like, is it gonna be all of our heroes going up against Doom and him just trying to collect all these powers to, like you said, create our battle world? Like so much up in the air right now. Another question I had based off this trailer is there a chance that we'll get like maybe a Odin cameo? Possibly. That would be sick. I mean, you would think they would have most of their cameos in Secret Wars, but maybe we could get some in Doomsday.
And as you said that, my next thought was, is there a possibility that we see him and Loki communicate in some way, shape, or form? We know Loki is now holding the whole universe together as like the master of stories. Is there a way that he could commune with his brother to let him know that he's down there holding things together? Or will Loki be the person to give Thor the breadcrumbs because he can see everything, so maybe he could warn him? There's definitely a lot of questions. And so far, with both trailers that we've seen and that we've covered here on the channel, there's a couple that have leaked, but we're going to cover those when they become official. The one thing that I noticed is the tone is very kind of somber. It seems like destroyed. Things are ending. And of course, that would make sense in a world where the incursions are happening and worlds are colliding and universes are falling. So I'm curious to see what the Russo brothers have in store for this first iteration, because we know that Doomsday is a part of Secret Wars. So is it going to be a half and half, or will Doomsday just set the seeds and set the stage for what will happen in Secret Wars? But I think we're always left with a few more questions than we have answers with these trailers. And that's why we're discussing it here on the channel. That's why we're breaking them down. And we would love to have you guys come into the comments, tell us what you thought was different. Maybe you had a different opinion, or maybe you could point out something that we missed or didn't see. We had a lot of people in the last video. So come on, join the party and share with us. We really appreciate you guys joining on. Those were pretty much all of my final thoughts. I'm going to toss it back to Jay, and he's going to kick us on out.
Hey man, it's a kind of a somber tone right now, and we got that countdown because Doomsday is coming. And our question is, by the time that countdown reaches zero, how big of a threat are we going to get? How crazy of a villain are we going to experience? And will we see our heroes link up once again to face this threat? But one thing that I know, one thing that King knows, we will be here to cover it on the channel. Like you said, Cap's in the book, Thor's in the book now. Wonder what else is coming next. I don't know. I don't know what else is coming next. We'll see. We'll see. But in the meantime, thank you for the support. Like, share, subscribe, stay mighty, and always stay nerdy, my friends.